Think Pennsylvania is just coal towns, buggies, and farmland? Think again. Hidden across this historic state are towns so enchanting, they feel like secret chapters ripped from a storybook. In this video, we're uncovering 10 most beautiful places to live in Pennsylvania, where misty hills, cobblestone streets, and a kind of magic you won't find anywhere else come together. Number 10, Jim Thorpe. Tucked into the Lehigh Gorge in eastern Pennsylvania, where mist curls through pine-covered cliffs and the river runs like a silver ribbon through town, Jim Thorpe is a place where the landscape does the talking. Just under 4,600 people call it home, but the town carries itself with the drama and poise of something far larger, originally named Mauk Chunk, meaning bear place in Lenape. This little corner of Pennsylvania was once a booming coal hub, famous for steep railways and industrial grit. In 1954, it took on a new identity, renamed for Olympic legend Jim Thorpe in a curious twist of history. He never lived here, but his final resting place and memorial have become part of the town's legacy, athletic triumph immortalized in Appalachian quiet. Wandering Main Street is like time traveling through a box of pastel postcards. Victorian homes in moss green, rose pink, and pale yellow climb the hillside, and at the top, the Asa Packer Mansion, all balconies, gingerbread trim, and grandeur. Just next door, the Harry Packer Mansion leans into its Gothic side, now a bed and breakfast with stories of unexplained whispers and phantom footsteps. Speaking of mansions, you can have your own here at an approachable price. Median home values fall between $230,000 and $280,000, making it one of the more accessible historic towns in the region. Rent typically ranges from $830 to $1,100 a month, and groceries average around $300 per person monthly, affordable without sacrificing charm. But don't think Jim Thorpe is just antique shops and ghost stories. This place moves. The old switchback gravity railroad, which once hauled coal, turned into America's first proto-roller coaster. Now a historic trail you can still hike. The Lehigh Gorge Trail curves along the river like it's hand-drawn, perfect for bikes, boots, or lazy wandering. And when the water's high, whitewater rafting launches right from town, sending thrill seekers splashing through the canyon like a ride straight out of nature's theme park. Number 9, Lititz. Some towns try to impress you with noise. Lititz doesn't bother. It wins you over with warm sidewalks, chocolate-sweet air, and the kind of stillness that feels intentional, like a held breath before something lovely. With just over 9,000 residents, this little Pennsylvania gem isn't loud, but it is unforgettable. It's the kind of town where time puts its feet up and stays a while. Founded in 1756 by Moravians and named after a castle in Bohemia, Lititz feels like a postcard from another century that somehow got lost in the Pennsylvania countryside. The streets are cobbled, the windows shuttered, the iron balconies dripping with flower pots and history. And yet, this isn't just some historic diorama. It lives and it smells faintly like pretzels. That's because this is the birthplace of America's first commercial pretzel bakery. The Julius Sturgis Pretzel House, still twisting dough by hand since 1861. The ovens are old, the walls are older, and if it feels familiar, that's because it once starred on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Just down the way, Wilbur Chocolate's legacy, now a dreamy cafe and mini museum, where the smell of cocoa literally leaks into the air like a secret. In the heart of town, Lititz Springs Park skips the theatrics. There's a gazebo, flowing springs, and benches placed like gentle suggestions. It's a place where kids feed ducks, teens play guitars, and couples sit without needing to speak. Want to live here? Be ready to fall for it. Homes float between $350,000 and $400,000. Rent averages around $1,300, and groceries sit comfortably near $325 per month. It's not a bargain town, it's a worth every penny town where beauty is baked in, not built up. And once a year, Lititz turns into something out of a dream. On the 4th of July, it hosts the Fairyland of Candles, a tradition from 1843 that still glows. lanterns floating, fireworks sparkling, and a queen of the candles crowned as the whole town shimmers like it remembers something magic. Lititz doesn't just look charming, it feels like home before you even realize you want to stay. Number 8. New Hope. Imagine sipping coffee on a creaky footbridge, while the Delaware River gurgles below and someone nearby is sketching a lamppost like it's the muse of the century. That's not fantasy. That's Saturday morning in New Hope. Population, just over 2,600 souls and at least twice as many painters. Here, even the porches look curated and the sidewalks feel like they're in on a secret. New Hope doesn't pretend to be a hidden gem. It knows it's swoon-worthy. Originally called Coriel's Ferry, this riverside nook began as a colonial crossing. But sometime in the early 1900s, it looked around at its foggy mornings, golden hour hills, and ivy-covered everything, and reinvented itself as an artist's sanctuary. The Pennsylvania Impressionist movement bloomed right here, and honestly, it never really left. Walk around and you'll see art spilling from studios, vintage cottages doubling as galleries, and sunsets that make you want to write poetry, even if you're bad at it. Of course, enchanting doesn't come cheap. Homes here typically float between $700,000 and $900,000. Rent hovers near $1,800, and groceries stack up to about $450 a month. But that price tag includes front row seats to daily beauty. Antique shops line the streets like museums you're allowed to touch, and restaurants serve duck confit and fresh-baked pastries like it's the norm. The heart of it all? The Bucks County Playhouse, a 1939 stunner, where legends like Paul Simon and Robert Redford once found their footing. Nearby, Odette's River House serves craft cocktails with canal views, while Nectar wine bar plates, cheese, and pours Pinot in a glow of Edison bulbs and murmured conversations. The whole town hums like background jazz. In the fall, the Phillips's Mill Art Show takes over a stone building that looks like it was carved from a fairy tale. And if your idea of a perfect afternoon involves stumbling on vintage marionettes or candle-making kits, Peddler's Village is basically a permanent scavenger hunt. New Hope lives in between things, halfway between Philadelphia and New York, halfway between quiet and color, halfway between modern and timeless. Number 7. Lewisburg. Picture a town where brick sidewalks lead past secondhand bookstores, espresso-scented cafes, and a movie theater that still has velvet seats and neon lights. That's Lewisburg, a river-hugging red brick haven of about 5,700 people, where Victorian charm meets university rhythm, and somehow they dance in perfect step. The town bends gently around Bucknell University, which perches on a hill like it knows it's the main character. Built in 1846, the campus looks like something out of a prestige Netflix drama. All green quads, columned buildings, and students in oversized sweaters walking with purpose. But Lewisburg never feels overrun. If anything, the university feels like the town's favorite older cousin, smart, a little loud, and always bringing in cool people. Market Street is the town's lifeline. You'll find espresso bars tucked between artisan bike shops, secondhand bookstores with handwritten shelf labels, and gift shops selling things like locally distressed wood that may or may not be magic. And then there's the campus theater, an Art Deco beauty with its original velvet seats and a glowing marquee that seems to wink at you. It still shows indie flicks and old classics. Popcorn smells included for the size of the place. Lewisburg has a suspiciously strong cultural game. The Weiss Center hosts touring ballets, jazz trios, and authors who use words like liminal, unironically. But it never feels stuffy. You can go to a talk on climate ethics and still grab fries at a pub 5 minutes later without changing your shoes. Now let's talk livability, because all this charm doesn't come at big city prices. Homes average around $280,000, rent lands close to $1,200, and you'll spend about $325 a month on groceries, especially if you mix Wegmans runs with the farmer's market and that bakery that always gives you extra rolls when it rains. Need quirks? The Lewisburg Hotel, built in 1834, still serves up porch-side cocktails and the kind of ambiance that makes you want to write a novel. Locals debate best bagel flavor like it's a sport, and every third store downtown has at least one antique globe, and a cat Lewisburg doesn't try to impress. It just does, quietly, classically, and always with a bookstore in reach. Number 6. Wellsboro. If there's a town that looks like it was designed inside a snow globe and then accidentally made real, it's Wellsboro. Tucked into the northern Pennsylvania woods and lit by actual gas lamps that flicker like the year forgot to move on, this place of just over 3,200 people feels less like a town and more like a perfectly kept secret whispered by pine trees. Main Street is straight out of a painting. Wide sidewalks, Victorian storefronts, bakeries that smell like cinnamon at all hours, and benches that always seem to catch the last beam of sunset. In winter, snow settles onto rooftops like it was placed there by hand. In summer, the greens go bold, postcard bright, unapologetically lush. Nothing here screams quaint. It just breathes it, naturally. But don't be fooled by the coziness. Just outside town, the landscape takes a dramatic turn. Pine Creek Gorge, better known as the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon, stretches 47 miles long and nearly 1,500 feet deep in spots. It's not the kind of place you casually pass through. It's the kind of place that makes you stop, listen to the wind, and forget your phone has notifications. The Pine Creek Rail Trail runs through it, 61 miles of quiet magic. Whether you hike, bike, or just sit on a bench and let the world slow down, the trail feels like it belongs in a novel. USA Today once called it one of the best biking routes in the country, but here, no one brags about it. They just nod, like, yeah, it's pretty good, and then hop on their bikes again. Living here feels like winning a bet you didn't know you made. Home prices hover around $230,000, rent stays near $950. And monthly groceries average about $300. It's the kind of place where beauty and budget hold hands, and neither one pulls too hard. And the town loves its quirks. Every winter, it transforms into a Victorian postcard during the Dickens of a Christmas festival, with top hats, carolers, and horse-drawn carriages making their rounds under those glowing lamps. In summer, Wellsboro flips the script with the Susquehannock Trail Performance Rally, turning sleepy roads into racetracks that echo through the trees. Before we move on, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. Your dream town could be up next. Number 5. Bethlehem. Bethlehem might just be the only town where colonial hymns, indie concerts, and the echo of molten steel all belong in the same sentence. With a population of around 76,000, it moves like a small city, but hums with the warmth of a town that remembers everything, and somehow still reinvents itself every decade. What it costs to live here makes sense the moment you see the town lit up at night. Average home prices range from $300,000 to $350,000. Rent averages around $1,400, and grocery bills hover close to $325 a month. Not the cheapest on the list, but what you're paying for is atmosphere, legacy, and more than a little sparkle. And not just at Christmas, though Bethlehem does that best. Dubbed Christmas City, it turns into a winter dreamscape of candlelit love feasts, sleigh rides past glowing Moravian stars, and the angelic brass of the trombone choir playing into snowy evenings. But what makes this town glow year-round is its ability to stretch from 1741 to right now, without skipping a beat. Wander through historic Moravian Bethlehem, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and it's like the 18th century never left. The Gemein House, built the same year the town was founded, still stands proud alongside the Single Sisters House, a revolutionary communal residence for unmarried women, nearly 300 years before anyone called that empowering. Then, fast forward. Just across the river, the ruins of the Bethlehem steel mill rise like industrial cathedrals. Once the powerhouse of American manufacturing, they've been reborn as steel stacks, a sprawling campus of music venues, outdoor cinemas, and neon-lit community stages. It's loud in a good way. And when August hits, it's Music Fest time. It's the country's largest free music festival, with 10 days of non-stop concerts stretched across stages called platzes, food tents that smell like roasted corn and pierogi, and crowds that dance until midnight. One stage even got renamed Zinzenplatz in honor of Countess Zinzendorf, just one of the many women behind the town's deep Moravian roots. Bethlehem never really sleeps. It sings, it glows, it remembers, and somehow, through all the change, it still feels like home. Number 4. Milford. Some towns are scenic. Milford feels composed, like someone carefully arranged trees, trails, and rooftops for the sole purpose of creating stillness. Tucked into the northeastern edge of the state with just over 1,000 residents, it moves at the pace of a handwritten letter. It started with fords and mills, literally. Founded in 1796 by Judge John Bittis, and laid out in a tidy grid inspired by Philadelphia, Milford wears its history on its sleeve. Colonial-era architecture doesn't just exist here, it thrives. From the gabled grandeur of Forester's Hall to the carefully preserved Hotel Fauchère, where handwritten menus and pressed linens still feel right, the whole town is a walking museum with a creative soul. The vibe here is a blend of old-world grace and mountain energy. Art galleries sit next to creaky bookstores. The Columns Museum houses everything from Civil War artifacts to eerie curiosities, including the blood-stained flag from Lincoln's assassination night. Across town, Better World Cafe serves locally roasted coffee with a side of activism, while boutiques stock handmade candles, vintage vinyl, and hand-woven wool from just up the road. Not far beyond the brick sidewalks, Raymondskill Falls, the tallest waterfall in Pennsylvania, crashes down into lush forest, a hidden wild just minutes from town. And above it all stands Gray Towers, the ancestral home of Gifford Pinchot, founder of the U.S. Forest Service. It's part castle, part forest retreat, and fully awe-inspiring. For a town this picturesque, the cost of living feels almost like a well-kept secret. Home prices average around $310,000. Rent stays near $1,200 a month, and groceries land around $325. The balance between beauty and practicality is rare. Milford pulls it off quietly, and it's not just a town that sits still. The Black Bear Film Festival and Milford Readers and Writers Festival give it cultural pulse, filling town with conversation, screenings, and bookish wanderers. Even the gas lamps seem to lean in and listen. Number 3. Lancaster. In Lancaster, you might pass a horse-drawn buggy and a food truck on the same block, and no one blinks. It's that kind of place. Murals stretch across downtown buildings like a giant sketchbook, while just down the road, rolling farmland hums with windmills and wildflowers. This is where old-school simplicity and new-age creativity shake hands and get along just fine. With a population of around 60,000, Lancaster walks the line between city buzz and country calm. One moment it's espresso in a neon-lit cafe. The next, it's farm eggs bought from a roadside honor box with a handwritten sign and a tin can for change. And then there's Central Market, a living, breathing pantry since 1730, and still the go-to for fresh-baked pies. Amish pretzels, sharp cheddar, and that one flower vendor who always knows what's in season. Grocery shopping here isn't a chore. It's a joyride for the senses. And with all that local abundance, most folks spend about $325 a month on groceries, give or take a few extra cookies. Looking for a place to call home? Lancaster gives you options. Homes usually range from $275,000 to $320,000. Though if you've got your eye on a historic row house with a brick facade and climbing ivy, it might nudge a bit higher. Prefer a sun-filled loft above a record shop or a farmhouse with a red barn and wide-open sky? Both are on the table and often still within reach. This is a town made for moving. Amtrak will get you to Philly or Baltimore before your coffee cools. While at home, the streets welcome you on foot or two wheels. And then there's First Friday, when downtown turns into a block party for artists, musicians, and anyone with a love for good beer, sidewalk saxophone, or unexpected poetry. Lancaster doesn't push to be trendy. It just keeps showing up, colorful, quiet, curious, a place where the past still lingers and the present feels handcrafted. Number 2. Eerie. There's something about a city that lives beside a great lake. It changes the air, the pace, even the light. Eerie, perched on the edge of Lake Erie's vast, glimmering waters, is one of those places where sunsets hit different, and sand somehow makes its way into your shoes year-round. Not as a nuisance, but as a quiet reminder that the beach is always nearby. With about 93,000 people and a skyline that refuses to rise too high, Eerie walks the line between laid-back and lively. The jewel of it all is Presque Isle State Park, a 3,200-acre hook of land that loops into the lake like a secret handshake from nature. It's got beaches, bike trails, birdwatching hides, kayak coves, and those smooth sandy dunes that play host to the Eerie Sand Sculpture Festival, an annual excuse to cheer on artists carving dragons and castles out of wet sand. And the affordability? Almost suspiciously good. Home prices float between $134,000 and $159,000. Rent ranges from $710 to about $1,100 a month, and the living never feels tight. You get lakefront perks without the city stress, space, quiet, and a view that doesn't cost a premium. The food? Comfort with a lakefront twist. Perch sandwiches at Smuggler's Wharf are a must, golden, crispy, gone in minutes. And if it's Friday, chances are you'll stumble into a fish fry somewhere, probably served with homemade coleslaw and unsolicited life advice. Grocery shopping's just as easygoing. Locals spend around $275 to $300 a month, and that includes a few splurges at the farmer's market or a well-earned box of donuts. But Eerie isn't just about lounging by the water. The Bayfront District has been turning heads with its transformation, especially Embrace Park, where a spiraling modern amphitheater overlooks the lake like a futuristic seashell. It's a perfect spot to catch outdoor concerts, or just sit with an ice cream cone and let the breeze do its thing. Number 1. State College. State College wears two identities like a perfectly tailored jacket. On one sleeve, academia, with Penn State University at the center like a beating heart. On the other, wild Pennsylvania landscape, forests, creeks, and ski slopes that start just beyond the lecture halls. It's polished and playful, intellectual and outdoorsy, and somehow still manages to feel grounded. Home to about 42,000 residents, the town thrives on a steady rhythm of campus buzz and mountain quiet. It's named after Penn State's long-standing title, the Pennsylvania State College, and marked by landmarks like the Nittany Lion Shrine, a sculpture so beloved it's practically in every alum's graduation photo. Nearby, the Nittany Lion Inn, built in 1931, once hosted presidents and poets, and now gleams with a fresh renovation that added Lion Restaurant, the 1855 Lounge, and a cafe that smells like pressed espresso and botanical arrangements. State College is full of these overlaps. The Palmer Museum of Art, always free to enter, shares the block with science labs. The Center Furnace Mansion, which birthed the university itself, tells stories in creaky floorboards while across town. The next generation of engineers codes in startup incubators. As for outdoor life, this isn't just campus green space. This is Rothrock State Forest, where trails wind through pine and oak, and Tussey Mountain, where skiers carve down gentle slopes all winter long. Spring Creek, famous among fly fishers, flows cold and clear, just minutes from town. The lifestyle here isn't just smart, it's surprisingly grounded. Homes average around $340,000, with rent near $1,500 per month. And despite the university town status, grocery bills usually land around $350 a month, with plenty of options from local co-ops to mainstream stores. Culturally, State College punches way above its weight. Thon, the legendary 46-hour dance marathon, raises millions for pediatric cancer and turns the Bryce Jordan Center into a swirling galaxy of lights, music, and pure heart. The annual Festival of the Arts draws over 125,000 visitors to browse booths, hear live jazz, and chalk the sidewalks in color. We hope you enjoyed today's journey. Here is another video you will love. And as always, thanks for watching.